it is our Showcase Sunday live from AJ Lake's Consultancy and AJ Lake's Training Academy. And this week's Showcase Sunday is coming from Janette McLaughlin, who is the Sales Director at EWGA Wines. And she's going to introduce herself. So Janette, welcome. And would you like to introduce yourself of who you are, what you do and why you do it?
Yes, thank you. I'm lovely to be here. I'm Janette McLaughlin, as you said. I'm Sales Director at EWGA Wines. I started my life in hospitality like you did, and after working in hotels, having trained in hotels, I moved into the world of wine about 20 years ago as a first employed salesperson here at EWGA, and as the business has grown and developed, we've taken on more sales staff. We've bought businesses elsewhere around the UK, and we have a sales team further afield, but our heartland is very much in the northwest still. Love what I do. Wine is an amazing, interesting product. It's not a manufactured product, as we know, it's a natural product, so therefore there are variations from one year to another in terms of supply and demand, and that can bring its challenges, but it's something different, it's something unique, and it's something that people enjoy sharing with friends. A great business to be in.
It is, yeah, it's a cracking business to go in. And you're right now in your tasting room at EWGA, aren't you?
I am, yes. This is at our head office just north of Carnforth, and we have this converted milk shed designed for a meeting and tasting room, and it's a great space for welcoming clients to have tasting events, to show them what we're all about. We have a bonded warehouse behind me with 3 bonded warehouses, so we work under the rules of HMRC. We ship in large quantity from all around the world into our warehouses here, which gives us advantages because we're able to store a lot of wine and not pay the duty on it until we sell it to the customer.
That's amazing. So do you cover, I know you are based in the northwest, but do you cover the whole of the UK?
Yes, we do now, either from our base here, our base down near Bristol, and the fleet of vans that we have in both those locations, but we also sell a range of our exclusive products to other wholesalers around the country who will then sell on to their own hospitality customers. But we're very much focused on the on-trade, on hospitality, and we don't sell into retailers. It's not our business. Our business is very much focused on a supplier to hospitality businesses.
Brilliant. And I know what your unique selling point is, but what is your unique selling point? What is unique and different about you as opposed to others? And I know you've just touched on the fact you don't sell to retail.
No, we don't. I mean, we have a range of wine that's been built up over nearly 50 years. The company will be 50 years old next year, and we've built up relationships with people. Some of the wines we have now, the company's been selling for 50 years. Other wines that we have, we've adopted more recently, but we also design ranges of wines with our suppliers which are specific to us, so you can only buy them from us, and that gives us advantages in all sorts of ways, but very much focusing on the quality. So our quality at every price point, we like to think, is very much offering more value than you would get from other people, from our competitors.
Brilliant. And you massively help the hospitality industry. How do you do that? I know when I used to be a hotel general manager, I used EWGA because it was absolutely ideal with the menu designs, the whole aspect from start to finish. So how do you help the industry?
Well, that's very much what we do. I mean, our real focus and passion is on offering service, high levels of service. So from the initial stage of suggesting a range of wines that would work in your business, whatever that business might be, through to providing a margin analysis so that you will know how much money you're going to make from each sale of that wine, whether it be by the bottle or the glass. We would provide you with all of that and agree your selling prices. If you're taking the whole range of wines from us, then we would offer to design a wine list and print a wine list for you, so that if for any reason there is a problem with a specific wine, because as I said before, you know, we are at the mercy of climate and supply chain sometimes, that we're in control and we can just say we're sorry, we need to make a change, but we'll reprint your list. So that takes all that hassle that you may have in hospitality. Everybody knows that, you know, it's not time is not on anybody's side at the moment, so we'll take all that hassle away from you and provide you with new wine lists as you need them. And then we will review the sales that you've made over a period of time. So every few months we will do a review and say, this wine's selling really well, but this one's not so well. Perhaps we'll try something different in its place. And we'll do staff training sessions with your staff to give them some confidence to go out and sell and to upsell from the wine list.
Yeah, because you know, I go on with a lot of my clients, I go on about the ideal client avatar, and it's always great to have that. And if you have, you know, if you're a hospitality business currently who has an ideal client avatar and you're trying to attract them and obviously sell to them, all they need to do is give you the ideal client avatar, you know, the profile, so that you can actually take that profile and say, this is the wines they would like and this is the upselling they would expect, couldn't you?
Yes, and we know that most businesses would have a range of their wines by the glass, but I'm very much of the opinion that your range of wines by the glass shouldn't be the cheapest wines that you can buy, and that to give people the option to buy a glass of Chablis if they want a glass of Chablis, it is something that, you know, a business at whatever level, if you've got the right client base, that you should, by not offering a premium option, potentially you're losing out on sales. And it also, you know, people look and think, oh, you know, they do a nice range, and it's across the spectrum of pricing, which I think works really well.
Massively. The other issue that's hit me in abundance this week, and I've had lots of calls from different businesses throughout the whole of the UK, that lots of large operators who have wines and spirits and all sorts of a range of drinks are now saying that they can't actually access the supplies. So it's causing a real issue. And you've just said earlier, you take all that pressure off business owners and managers who are already time precious, as we know, and already struggling with another crisis, which is the staffing crisis. And then you know, they've got the issue with New Zealand wines at the moment. Now I'm hearing all sorts of different excuses of why New Zealand wines are not coming in at the moment. Some are saying it's COVID, some are saying that it's all about customs, but it's not really, is it, Janette? What would you say it is?
Well, New Zealand Sauvignon has obviously been very popular in the UK, or is very popular in the UK, and unfortunately the vintage that the wine that's just been made from the latest vintage, there was about 40% reduction in the amount of wine that was made because of frosts in the vineyards. And as I said before, it's a natural product, and this can happen. It happened in France as well this year in the spring, and that has a dramatic effect on the supply of wine available. And in the past, we've been able to buy large quantities of New Zealand Sauvignon, and we've had our supplies reduced because there just isn't the wine available, and that brings its own challenges. We've gone elsewhere to source some of that wine, so that we will have wine to sell. but yes, it's something that, you know, you can't just go in the warehouse and make a load of New Zealand Sauvignon. It doesn't work like that. We could have done without having it this year, because there are lots of other challenges that we're facing everywhere in hospitality and its supply chain. But it is a natural product, and there just isn't the amount of wine to satisfy the demand. And also, often we've heard that New Zealand sell their wine to other markets for a higher price than they sell it to the UK, because the UK is a very strong market and drives the prices down potentially. So therefore, they will sell it to who will ever pay the highest price. So there's also the potential that there may not be as much for the UK market, because they're selling it to other markets internationally at a higher price.
So Janette, you mentioned that you supply the wholesale industry. Would you supply hospitality in the UK direct?
Yes, I mean, we do have some customers that we supply direct on the pallet network. So if you've got a good sized business that requires, you know, 15 to 30 cases of wine a week, then we're able to send that out on the pallet network here from our warehouses, and it's a different way of getting a range of wines. We don't send, you know, we can even do bottle picking, so you don't have to necessarily have a full case of everything. So we can supply a full range of a wine list, as long as you're able to take a delivery on a pallet, which would be offloaded at your site, and obviously you would have to do your own moving of it from where the pallet was delivered. But yeah, it's another option, and you know, the pricing for that sort of thing could be done on a different basis. So yeah, definitely good opportunities for that too, if you've got a business of the size that would warrant that.
Yeah, because I have a client who obviously highlighted the Sauvignon problem earlier this week with me, and he's got a group of properties and they could do that. So they would, I think they'd be very interested in the South African alternative, because they are looking at unique and different experiences. And I think, you know, in all essence, a pallet load would be ideal, because they are selling quite an amount every single week of these bottles. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because what I want to know as well is obviously the supply chain in lots of areas. I covered on last Friday, the FAQ Friday, about laundry businesses, large laundry businesses now only giving 70% of the laundry to all hospitality businesses, and you think, gosh, you couldn't get any worse. And then I'm hearing the same with Brexit, COVID, with food and drink supplies, etc. What do you do that obviously softens the blow but helps and supports the hospitality industry, so that they're not left in a state of crisis, which I've heard all week this last week, of how it's become a big issue after a big issue after a big issue?
Yeah, I mean, I think the important thing, and lots of the team here have worked in hospitality, so we understand how it is, we know our customers, and we know what customers want and the support that they need. So for example, if you've got, as we have at the moment, there are some delays in the supply chain because there are obviously the new Brexit import arrangements have become very, very different to what we've been used to. So there are delays with stock coming in, inevitably. And I think the important thing is that we support people by saying, we haven't got this wine, it was supposed to be in this week or last week, it still hasn't arrived, but why don't we send you this so you've got something to offer? Because if it's a Pinot Grigio, for example, although we have our range of Pinot Grigios, we have several, so we can always move from one, the one that's on the wine list to one at the same quality price point, so that you will have something to offer. And the majority of customers would prefer that we do that as a short-term solution, so that they have something. I think sending nothing and then the customer, you know, getting to a busy weekend and suddenly they've got no wine because the wine that they usually have isn't available, isn't, from my point of view, isn't what people want. They just want to have something to offer their customers.
Yeah, because guest expectations are far in exceeding that it's ever been, and especially if they've run out of stock, it's becoming more of an issue now, and causing other upsets. So, and a little birdie told me that you have a different wine for businesses who are used to having the New Zealand wines, just in case. Is that correct?
Yes, we've thought outside the box, and we are launching a Kiwi style Sauvignon. The harvest in South Africa was particularly good this year, and the style of Sauvignon Blanc that's come from there is much more of that aromatic style that you would expect from New Zealand. So we're bottling a Kiwi style Sauvignon, which is due to arrive next week, and that will offer an alternative. Because the other thing about New Zealand Sauvignon with supply and demand is the price will go up. So people who are serving glasses of New Zealand Sauvignon may suddenly will find that in order to maintain their profitability, that they have to put the price up, and sometimes that will go beyond where they think their customers will pay. So we're giving them an opportunity to do something a little bit different.
Wow, I love that, thinking outside the box. Fantastic. Now, I always ask my guests to have 5 top tips. Have you got any tips that you can share with the hospitality industry today?
Well, I think my top tips would be to do with the sort of current climate, is to have a bit more adaptability. I think to say, this is what we're doing, this is what we do, this is what we've done in the past. I think we're all having to adapt to the situation we're in, and I think it's better to you know, to be there with an open mind and say, we're having to adapt, we are having to do things differently. We can still offer, you know, we've got good supplies of wine, and we've had to put extra time into our supply chain because we know that things are different, and we've worked very hard on that. But you know, inevitably there will be times when the lorry doesn't turn up. I do a little dance every time a lorry drives into the yard, because you know, it's not predictable when things are going to turn up anymore, whereas it used to be. So it's having that open mind and adaptability, because there's no point getting cross about this may not be quite as it was before. It's better to look positively and think, well, you know, let's do something a little bit different. Having a wine list which isn't maybe quite so rigid, and has that, you know, why not put a wine special on? Go to, you know, come to us and say, what have you got that is special? Offer it as a summer special. And try and channel sales, well, certainly from New Zealand Sauvignon, why not channel your sales into something a bit different at the same sort of level? Or look at something from an area like southern Italy, where, excuse me, where you've got some really interesting and exciting wines that you could offer people something different. It gives them something that they wouldn't have tried before, so they're going away with an experience from your hospitality business that they may not have had somewhere else. It will make them remember their stay with you because it was the first time they had, for example, a Primitivo from southern Italy, and they thought it was fantastic.
Wow. Yeah, it's all about creating experiences nowadays. This is massive, and you know, as we said earlier about guest expectations, and the more that you can actually create memorable experiences, the more likely that they will come and support you. Your customers will come back and support you in the future, and talk about you. Word of mouth is becoming quite a big thing even now as the digital era has taken over. So it is interesting. Have you got any other top tips, Janette?
Top tips. Well, the other top tips that I really think at the moment, and you know, the areas that we do business in, I think, you know, looking for that local supplier, looking for somebody where you can have that one-to-one relationship with, who really has your business at the heart of their business. And I think that's critically important. To be an important customer for a local business is, to me, you get a better level of service. You know, our service is at the heart of what we do, and I think you know, the fact that we've had customers that have bought from us for 50 years in some cases, I think, you know, speaks volumes, and it's that personal service that really counts and really matters. And I do think you get a much higher level of that if you're dealing with somebody local. You know, Friday afternoon and suddenly somebody comes on duty for the weekend and, oh no, somebody forgot to put the wine order in. You know, we're not a company that will just take a phone call and say, well, I'm really sorry you've missed your delivery day. If we can sort out a problem, we do sort out a problem, because we've all been there. We all understand that you know, people are people, and sometimes things just need sorting out at the last minute, and that's what we do, and I think that's what you get from a local business that you maybe don't get from a bigger company.
Yeah, and because you're all across the UK, that's possible everywhere, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And, you know, the people that we sell to in bulk, they're local businesses as well, smaller local businesses, and they will have the same relationship with their customers in their area. But yeah, we care passionately about our customers and the service that we offer them.
Brilliant, brilliant. Any other top tips?
Well, my favourite wine at the moment is a white Rioja. It's an award-winning white Rioja, and it's spent some time in barrel. I quite like a full, rich white wine, and it's just won an award. We've got really good stocks of it. It's offering something different, something. Top tips really: go different. Don't choose what you would always choose. Choose something different that you may not have had before. Offer your customers something different that they may not have had before, and it's that customer experience. It's something that they will go away remembering, that the first time they had a white Rioja, because people think that all Rioja is red often, they'll go away and remember that, and they'll remember that they had it at whichever hotel in the Lake District, for example. Yeah,
that's massive, and you can't we can't go away without knowing which white Rioja you're talking about, because I get shouted at if this goes live today. And sorry,
the white Rioja that I'm talking about is from a fabulous winery right in the heart of Rioja. It's the first place I'm going to visit when I can go out of the UK. It's a beautiful hotel in the middle of the winery called EWGA. It's a family owned and run, several generations in the family, and they make a fantastic range of Rioja. The one I'm talking about is the EWGA Reserva Blanco, but they also make a range of red wines, which are made from the grape varieties that can make up the blend of a red Rioja as well. So they're quite interesting and different, and those are the sorts of wines that I like to drink.
And are they on sale with EWGA?
They are on sale with EWGA, yes.
Brilliant.
Yes.
So people can contact you direct, can't they, to be able to access them? But you're right, it's great to experiment, and the fact that you train the teams to be able to understand what wines they are serving, but also to be able to upsell and help the guests choose a wine that would complement the meals, because you also do that as well, don't you?
Yes, and staff training is something that you know we offer all the time, and it's a case of the team that any business has. They need to be comfortable that they know what the wines that they're selling taste like, but they also know how to upsell, what to offer a glass of dessert wine if you're having a meal in a restaurant and you're ordering a dessert, a glass of dessert wine is a perfect accompaniment to a sweet dish, and it's somewhere that you can upsell and make more revenue for your business.
Yeah, very quickly. I remember, and I'm talking years ago now, when we used to have the sweet trolley. The one thing that I used to do, right, which is it's a little secret, but I used to do it when I was walking around with the sweet trolley and explaining to the first guest who were going to choose their dessert, I would always pop a glass of dessert wine on the table, free, complimentary, because everybody would think, oh, they've had them, I've got to have them. So it was a cracking sales technique.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we sell, and we have a long association with, is an Austrian glassware company called Riedel, and the glassware that we always would suggest to places that if you've got a good glass, then the wine looks better, tastes better. We have a suggestion to people that if you're selling, you know, a really nice bottle of red wine to somebody, then give them an extra special glass with that red wine, and that's the same as your dessert wine tip. People look round and say, I wonder why they're getting big glasses or bigger glasses, and it's, you know, it's that sort of ripple effect through the restaurant. People look and think, oh, I wonder what they're doing, and wonder how we can do that. And the next night you might then try and order a wine to get the big glasses too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely great. And you also help with anybody who's got events and functions, because they're starting to open up. And obviously, do you hire glasses out and things like that anymore?
Absolutely. We have loan glasses that we can hire out to people, yes. And we also do things on sale or return. So if you wanted to, it's always difficult to exactly estimate how much somebody's going to drink on a function. So, you know, we are able to offer a sale or return facility as well. So you can over order and then potentially send anything back if you need to at the end.
Wow, yeah, which is always a must, especially when you're looking after your food and beverage cost control elements, which is massive in the organisation. So definitely.
Yeah. The other thing that we do, Alison, is we can work with people to look at their stock holdings, because we obviously have a record of what people are buying. So after you know, over a month or 2 months, you might say, well, this is the pattern of your purchases over that period. So this is what you should be holding in stock. We deliver to most places, most places twice a week. Some places, you know, we can offer 3 days a week deliveries if necessary. So that means you don't need to be holding large stock levels. So we can either suggest, well, this is what your weekly order should be, or over a month, this is what we think you will sell based on previous. Put an order in at the beginning of the month, so then you've got one order, one invoice, one delivery, and that saves on time from both an invoicing point of view and processing that invoice through your system, but also from a delivery point of view. Yes, you might get a bigger order, but it's not incrementally, it doesn't take you as much time as it would if you were having 3 deliveries, for example, or 4 deliveries over a month. So, you know, that's another thing that I think people could, as long as they've got the storage space, could look at ordering a bigger order at the beginning of the month, because we offer credit terms where you wouldn't be paying for that until the end of the following month.
Yeah, and if they had a function where, for example, a wedding, and they'd actually picked a certain wine, and I have heard, you know, some big companies have actually let some hospitality businesses down when this has been happening because they've not been able to get the stock in. Would they be able to reserve a certain amount of wine with you?
Yes, I mean, for functions, it's always critical to give your supplier as much notice as possible, and to discuss with your supplier in advance of your requirements, because we obviously stock in based on what we have historic sales for, But if you've got something which is out of the blue, then, you know, we're a business that needs to manage our own cash flow as well. So we can't just stock in on the what if scenario. We do it based on historic sales. So it's always better to communicate that and not to expect that your supplier will have infinite stocks of a particular wine for your event. But yes, if you have a wedding in the beginning of September and you know what is required, then we can allocate that stock to you as a customer now, and it will be then available for September. And it also then would highlight if there are any issues, then you're going back to your function in good time before the event, rather than the day before saying, oh sorry, we haven't got your wine. It's not a good service. And so yes, we can allocate stock for you.
Brilliant, brilliant. So, you know, the added value that you give to all your clients is massive, isn't it? And if somebody was sitting on the fence now and saying, but I've always used such a supplier and I've always used this supplier, what would you say that your customers, you know, who has been with you for the last 50 years, for example, why did they choose to be with you, and why have they continued to be with you throughout the whole of that time? What would they say to somebody sitting on the fence and thinking, you know, should I actually go and have a chat to Janette or any of her colleagues at EWGA Wines and discuss how we can work together? What would they say?
I think they would say that we feel as though we're a supply partner, not just a supplier, so that we would work with our customers, we would get to understand their businesses and not just supply them with whatever they want to order. We work with them to make sure that the range of wines that they have works for their business. And we would be the ones who are proactive in, why don't you try this? This is new. You know, we're the ones that have that expertise and knowledge. And I know that you don't get that from some of our competitors, because you know, certainly people who have one supplier for all their drink requirements, they're buying from a composite company, but not a specialist in any particular area. And it may be that you would have, you know, not have somebody there who is a specialist in the wine area, which is much more involved than selling Coca-Cola, for example, or something which is, you know, much more of a standard product. A wine has a story, and it's those stories that sell those unique products to the customers and make it more exciting.
Yeah, definitely, and that's what you give in, you know, in abundance. You do that, and you can actually help the wine list by actually telling some of those stories within the wine list as well.
Yeah, and our philosophy is from grape to glass, which is on our logo behind, and we focus on that quality all the way from the vineyard right the way through to the glass, the wine in the glass for the end user, for the consumer, and it's something that we really make sure that all those stages that we're looking at that quality and excellence, and the people in the vineyards, you know, we're comfortable and happy that the quality of the wines that we're buying is excellent, and we want to be proud to sell what we sell, and that's important. So we spend a lot of time sourcing the right products for the market that we're working in.
Brilliant, thank you. So we will obviously at the end of the filming, we'll put all your details of how to contact you. What's the most ideal way to contact you, Janette? Is it you or your colleagues? What's the ideal?
No, I think myself, really. You know, I'm very happy to be contacted on the telephone to have an initial chat to make sure that the right person on our sales team is matched to whichever customer it is, because, you know, we have a range of people who would specialise in you know, certain area or certain type of customer, and you know, on the phone, and then a follow-up with email is always a good thing. I'm obviously on all the social media channels and LinkedIn, so you know, any way that suits anybody is good.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Thank you. Well, have you got anything else you want to add, Janette?
No, I don't think so, unless there's anything you think I've howlingly missed.
No, I think you've covered so many top tips, and it is so true to have that relationship, close relationship with your suppliers, so that you know, especially as and when things like the Sauvignon from New Zealand starts to become an issue, and what the backup plan is. I think the critical thing for all hospitality business owners and managers now is to have plan Bs, Cs and Ds in the strategy, so that whatever happens, we have a solution, because it's all about not having a problem, it's all about having a solution and an action to focus on, than to, you know, struggle and have the focus on the negatives, which never work.
No, it doesn't. I think you're right. You know, the solutions, there's always a solution. It's just having that sort of open mind to realise that it's better to think, what is the solution to this potential problem I've got, rather than focusing on, I've got a problem, this isn't what I want. No, you know, nobody wants problems, but there's always something that we can do to make it better.
And the beauty is, if you've got that relationship with your suppliers, such as Janette from EWGA Wines, then you will have another view and another area of solution making. So it's always very handy. Thank you very much, Janette. You've been a real pleasure, and we will put all your links on at the end. What I want to do now is wish you all a happy Sunday, happy Showcase Sunday, and good luck with your suppliers. And remember that EWGA Wines here are the experts in wine supplies. They do other elements as well, but certainly give Janette a call soon. Thank you very much.